So what stands out to you?
Yep. Well, you know, Samsung takes a lot of the punch out of their numbers by giving out preliminary numbers 3 weeks ago. So we kind of knew where the company was heading. This time with the final numbers, we get a little bit more guidance on the individual divisions. And a few things do stand out. First of all, the numbers are better than what analysts are expecting. Just let's get net income out of the way. Net income coming at 7.1 trillion won, 6.4 billion US dollars, beat estimates of 67 trillion won. That was the average forecast. But basically, Samsung is riding the boom of stay-at-home demand for personal computers, home appliances, and cloud services. Obviously, it's a surge that's created a global chip shortage, and that's where some of this guidance that stands out to me. Basically, Samsung on the semiconductor division, let's start there. Semiconductor earnings should improve significantly in the second quarter, is their guidance. And basically saying DRAM prices will continue to rise through the second half. They're also saying the foundry business in Texas, which was shut down for a few weeks because of power outages in Austin, they are now back at full resumption. And also Samsung saying they will respond to foundry demand, increased foundry demand through supply expansions. You know, Samsung has warned of a serious imbalance in the chip markets, while rival TSMC also says shortages could extend into next year, 2022. Now, the other thing that stands out, in addition to their comments on chip shortages and the semiconductor and DRAM space, is the mobile market. They're saying, obviously, in the first quarter, they launched their very hot-selling S21 Galaxy handset, which outsold predecessors 2-to-1 in the first 6 weeks of sales in the first quarter. But they're guiding lower a little bit the mobile business, saying the mobile market overall demand will recover to pre-COVID levels in the second half of the year. But in the second quarter, mobile business revenue and profit will decrease. Obviously, they had that big S21 launch in the first quarter, which boosted revenue in that quarter. But in the second quarter, Samsung is saying they're going to see a part supply issues, not just in chips, but mobile phone part supply, global crunch is going to be hitting their mobile business. So that's what stands out to me. We do have breakdown of the individual division. This largest division, IT and mobile operating profit, 4.39 trillion won. Next biggest, semiconductor operating profit, 3.37 trillion won. Consumer electronics operating profit, 1.12 trillion won. And the smallest of the four, small, I say relatively small, display panel operating profit, 360 billion won. So the market, how's it responding? Shares up slightly in Seoul trading this morning.
The inheritance tax issue, though, Steve, the fate of the heir apparent J.Y. Lee, does that somewhat cloud the outlook?
Well, it does to a certain degree. You know, when Lee Kun-hee died in October, we knew that there was going to be this inheritance tax. South Korea has the largest inheritance taxes in the world. But the biggest cloud, obviously, is what's going to be the fate of J.Y. Lee, the heir apparent, his son, who is in jail right now after being convicted of financial malfeasance. That is a bigger cloud. But again, these big four divisions that I just talked about have their own very well-skilled and expertise in their managers, and they kind of almost run independently to a certain degree. Do you need that figurehead leader? Well, obviously, they're showing with these latest results, not necessarily. But, you know, we're not sure exactly how long this saga with J.Y. Lee will play out. But essentially, on the inheritance tax, they put out a statement yesterday, Samsung, it's our civic duty and responsibility to pay all taxes, and it's in a big tax bill, $11 billion US.